Welcome to this week's video. So we have a differential from a very kind person. They want to get this welded up for their 350Z because it's their drift car. However, in this video, what I'm going to go over with you guys is like step by step how to prep it, how to weld it, do all that, do everything from start to finish. But of course, before I get into that, I do want to say everybody coming back to the channel here, thank you guys. And for those brand new to the channel, welcome as well. Consider subscribing to the channel. We do a lot of stuff here that involves anything automotive related and fab related. A lot of cool stuff coming up in the near future. And with the help and support of you guys, that can all be being pushed a lot sooner. So definitely stick around for all of that. But getting into what I want to go over as to why I'm going to do everything step by step is there's a handful of videos out there of people that show how to do this. But there is a lot of prep work to it, and that's going to be like the main focus on this. So it's going to have everything in this video, but there's a lot of videos out there that just don't have like the prep work that's needed. So that's what I'm going to go over with you guys. So jumping right into the first step we got to do here is we got to drain the differential of all its fluid and clean it out. So that is what we're going to do right now.
Alrighty, so real quick, I wanted to show this part here because we're starting to take off the sensors. The sensors weren't taken off, so first step is to do that first, and then typically there's 2 extra bolts at the bottom. You can probably see them missing right now, but that's because the owner of this vehicle has a brace for his rear subframe which actually bolts into those bolt holes. No big deal. So typically there's 2, 4, 6, 8 bolts in total. So you just unscrew those, and then I'll hit it here at the end with a punch. I kind of mess around with a pry bar, but it wasn't working out too well. So I just grabbed a punch and a hammer and just hit it in one spot to break it loose. But I did want to use this time real quick to let you know that these t-shirts that I have right now on my website, down in the description below, along with some other links. These t-shirts are only being sold for a limited time only. I'm only going to run this for about 3 months. So you guys have until about January of 2024 to get your order in. It supports me. It supports the channel. It supports everything that I'm trying to do here. So go ahead and head over, get yourself a t-shirt. And if you live in the Houston, Texas area, I'll weld your differential for you for free. If you buy a t-shirt. So you can also go have some slidey boy fun. And now we're moving back to the rest of the video.
Okay, I know I was explaining how to pretty much open this and get it all torn apart, and what tools you're going to need and everything like that. I'm about to clean it, and what I'm going to clean it with is a simple brake clean. We're going to hit it with brake clean, probably about 2 cans worth of it, and then I'm going to blow it out with my air gun, try to get as clean as I possibly can to keep the mess to a minimal. It's not a big deal if it's not super clean. If you have some oily residue or a brake clean or anything like that afterwards, it's fine. You might catch on fire, but you're fine. Before I move on any further, because I'm going to do that all off camera, we're going to be moving straight to the welder setup right after this. But what I want to explain first is that this particular one, I forgot when the kid dropped it off. He said it was a limited slip. So my whole plan with this video was thinking it was an open differential. It wasn't. I got it off and I was like, oh crap, this is a limited slip. Not a big deal. It's just a little bit different of a process. I'm gonna try to move it around. So I'm gonna explain it, and then I'm gonna show it on camera, or try my best to show you exactly how it's gonna be done. But basically, in this little hole and on these side holes, we're going to do an H pattern. So we're going to weld the top and the bottom, and then we're going to weld a bridge on each one of these holes all the way around. So there's 8 holes in total. That's how we're going to do that. Because with a limited slip, so a limited slip differential is supposed to lock up when you're breaking traction or whatever, right? So they're actually supposed to be, better for drifting. However, from factory, Nissan didn't really do a great job at that. And they have little springs in them, and they wear out over time. The older the car gets, the more worn out it gets. And so they just don't lock up as well. So if I take both and I rotate it, actually this one's pretty good. But like it's still spinning the spider gear. So it's still not, it should be locking up when I'm doing this. Essentially, that's what we're going to be doing That's what we're going to be fixing, I guess, making sure it doesn't spin like that when they're going against each other, which is exactly what you want with drifting. And before going over that, kind of some pros and cons of having a welded differential, whether it's an open diff or an LSD, is you're going to have much more tire wear. That's really the biggest negative side, is your tires are going to wear faster, because if you're daily driving it or street driving it, it's going to eat tires up. Also, axles. So with a really good weld, what this should do is if you break anything, you're going to be breaking stuff outside of the differential. So you're going to be snapping axles probably more often than not. And I say more often, I mean, like if the axle's rated for 75,000 miles, you maybe get 40, 50, if that. I don't know. It's not a huge deal, but you know, it's just kind of like, that's the negative. The pros is you're going to have a lot of fun. So that's the biggest pro to me. If something could put a smile on my face, then it's all worth it. So that's that. I'm going to get this cleaned up really good. I'm not going to wire wheel it until after. I'll explain why at that point in the video, but then I'm just going to clean this up really good as best I can. And then right now we're going to move right over to the welder. I'm going to show you exactly what wire, my settings, and how I'm going to kind of get the right voltage and wire speed and all that to get full penetration, or as much penetration as I can. And yeah, we'll hop right over to that. All right, I was going to get into the setup a little bit because I was actually going to change out my wire. I currently got 0.30 in. I wanted to put 0.35 in, but the tips that I bought, I was under the impression that these were like twist-on contact tips. They're not. They're actually like they're like compression style. So they just slip in. You put the nozzle over it, and the nozzle compresses it. Anyways, I was looking around to see if I can go pick one tonight at like a Northern Tool or something like that. I'm gonna have to go to like a welding supply store or order it on Amazon. Either way, I'd have to wait. I want to get started on this project tonight. That was my goal for today. So we are back with the 0.30, which will be fine. We're just going to run it a little hotter. I was going to run it like 22 volts anyways. I'll show you my setup here in a minute, but we'll probably go up to like 24. We're going to run some test runs on this 1/4 inch. I'm going to cut a small section off. I'm going to do that off camera. It's something I do when I'm working with something not new, but like if it's a project that isn't kind of like in my normal settings on my welder, then I will do like test runs on a similar thickness material, which a 1/4 inch is about similar. That way I can see where I want my heat at, if I'm going to blow my breaker, my wire speed, where that should all be at, and I kind of dial it in before I start working. That way when I work, I could just full gun it. I don't have to sit there and play a guessing game or mess stuff up to where I'm not getting penetration. So it's just a good idea to always practice a couple runs before actually working on a piece that once you do it, that's permanent. I mean, that's what welding, it's like doing tattoos. You know, you're not going to practice on somebody. You're going to get pigskin or something. Okay, so this is the setting that I got here. I'm going to be running at 24 volts, and I'm going to start at 360 for the wire speed. I'm going to practice with this on the 1/4 inch off camera and kind of tweak it if I need to. I'm hoping I'm this good and I can just leave it at this, but you never know. We'll see. I'm going to get practicing, and then I'll show you my actual settings right now. I'm not going to be in frame very well, but I am staying at the 24 volts. Plenty. It's plenty hot. This can go hotter, and I totally could, but on the 120, which I'm on, because I'm on the 120 adapter to the 240, I more than likely will start flipping breakers at that point. I only flipped the internal breaker on this thing once doing some test runs, so that's good. I have increased the wire speed to 380. That's giving me a nice crispy bacon sound, so it's sounding really good, like it's actually getting in and filling. Backside of this has booger welds. When I was testing it out, I was kind of going back and forth, but this is really hot still. But the bottom here, I did a joint weld, and on the backside started penning through pretty well. We just got to run it a little longer. That's about it. So it's a pretty good setting. I'm just going to have to work it pretty slow. I might make some adjustments on the fly, depending. But up here is when I started doing the 380, and that's hot. I'm setting it down now. So all in all, it came out pretty well. So that's what I'm going to work with. And now I'm going to get started on welding this thing after I go pick up my pizza.
All right, so I'm going to start here with the spider gears and everything like that. What I'm doing here is just getting the the edges welded first, and then I start building from the bottom upwards. Basically, you want to get the spider gears that you can see welded up to the housing of the, I guess, the outside, the housing of the differential to the spider gears and all that. And you don't have to overkill it. You can just do a bridge from one end to the other. You don't need to like fill the whole thing up with weld. There's no need for that. It's just a complete waste of material or consumables, I guess, if you want to call it like that. And it's pretty much that simple. You do that in the corners too, as you can see here, and you just do that all the way around. All eight holes. You just make sure they're just welded up, and you'll be good to go. A lot of people have their doubts about this and say, "Oh, you should weld the plate. You should have it stronger." Yada yada yada. I've had diffs welded both ways. Granted, they were open diffs, but I've driven cars with welded LSDs as well, and it all works the same. They all work the same. If they break, it's just they break. It happens. I've had welded spider gears diffs, and I've had welded plated diffs. I've never had any issues. I've ended up snapping more axles before actually breaking any of the differentials. So there's that. And I still got to kill a little bit more time, just so I'm not making this part of the video super fast. I will say it abruptly cuts. It abruptly cuts because I flipped the breaker. I was running the welder for too long. It's just sucking juice, and it just kept flipping the breaker. So I ended up going to take a break for a little bit, came back, and just did the rest of it off camera because it ended up flipping on me a couple times. But the last thing I guess I want to leave you guys with is everybody, I guess, watching this. I'm super proud of you. Everything you're doing in life, whatever it is you got going on, keep doing what you're doing, and to hell with anybody who tells you otherwise. They don't know anything about you, and only you know what you got going on. And if it makes you happy, if it betters your life, if it betters those around you, if it's just all around a better vibe for you, just keep doing it. Don't listen to anybody. Don't listen to anybody who tells you you're not good enough or anything like that, because you are. And you just keep doing what you're doing to get through every day and do something new every day. Try something new. Even if you're stuck home or whatever, just keep pushing, and you'll go pretty far in life. So just ignore all the people that give you shit for it or legitimately hate you for it. Those aren't people you want in your life anyways. And with that, we'll just move on to the last part here. And I'm finished up here with this diff. So this is essentially what it should look like. Is just kind of like I said, I said an H earlier. It's kind of like an H, but it's kind of like a really fucked up H if you think about it. But it works. It's essentially all you got to do is just weld that housing together to the spider gears. I don't know if I take both hands. I think the camera was in the way. I wouldn't have been able to show you, but it ain't going anywhere. This is super solid, super good. Very happy with it. Can't wait to see this kid do a burnout in my driveway.
Essentially, that's just how you would weld up LSD. I'm not going to touch this thing too much barehanded because it is hot. I was cooking the shit out of it. As you saw in the last clip when I walked away, I mentioned that I broke the breaker or flipped the breaker, and it's just I was running it, probably hotter than it should have been going on 120. I just don't have 220. I have a 220, but I don't have the right plug for 220. And another reason why I kind of wanted to use the thicker wire, the 035, is because I could have ran it a little less hot, and it would have worked the same. She's all done. She's all welded up, as you saw. Ooh, that's pretty warm. And perfect timing. My t-shirt, the one that I ordered for myself, came in while I was going to pick up my pizza. So these are the t-shirts, by the way. I'm not happy about this whatsoever. You might see it on camera. That's probably a printing issue, but other than that, detail and everything else came out great. So I will definitely use them again. Hopefully the next couple orders I can get some pictures from people and see if this is an issue. If it is, and I'm gonna have to go somewhere else to get t-shirts. Limited time only. I'm only selling these for 3 months, so you only have until October, November, December, till about the beginning of January. And so that's just the basics. Like I said, anybody that has welding knowledge and it's really simple. You lay it in there until it's all built up and it's melted or welded, not melted, welded to the housing, and the gears are welded together. LSDs are one thing. This isn't LSDs are most of the time you don't have to weld them up. This is mostly for like open differentials that need the welding. A lot of LSDs are pretty good about it, but like I said, a high mileage car, the springs and pins and everything inside that activate the LSD are worn out. So you can fix it by putting shims and shimming it. But that's a pain in the ass. If you got a welder, it's much cheaper and it's a permanent fix. And the only downside is if it does break on you, you're going to have to get another diff. So all in all, happy with that. I'm glad I could show you guys on that. So hopefully this is something we'll be doing with whatever project I end up getting at some point. Not anytime soon, of course, I've mentioned that. But in the future, we'll be back to building race cars in the garage again. And with that, I want to thank you guys for sticking around throughout the whole video. If you have any comments or questions or anything, leave them down below. Please like and share this video with friends. That really helps. And of course, subscribe to the channel so you can get notifications for all the future videos and everything like that. I'll see you guys all in the next video. Have a good rest of the night. Do something nice for somebody tomorrow, and I'll see you all later. Okay, bye-bye.